Hello class, this is Mr. Lehman. I want to talk to you today about lesson 20. We start making up some of these ions, and so what happens when a sodium atom combines and reacts with a fluorine atom. And so if we take a look at sodium, sodium has 11 electrons, 11 protons, and it has one outer electron in the third shell, so one valence electron. Fluorine, on the other hand, has 9 electrons, 2 in the first, 7 in the second, and wants to gain 1, wants to get 8. And so if these two things collide into each other and come into contact, the forces inside the nucleus, the protons from fluorine, are going to pull with a greater force than the protons inside the sodium. And so fluorine is actually going to be able to steal that electron from sodium. And so what happens when these two things get close to one another, we're going to pull that electron over. And so when that happens, fluorine now has 10 electrons, no longer 9. And so if fluorine has 9 protons, 10 electrons, it's now fluorine 1 minus, which we call fluoride ion. And then sodium loses its outermost electron, it's stolen, and so it no longer has a third shell anymore. It only has 2 shells of electrons. And so it has 2 in the first, 8 in the second. And so because it has 8 in the second, it's now happy. It now has a full octet. So it now has 10 electrons as well. 11 protons, 10 electrons. Sodium now has that +1 charge. And so now these two things are both happy. They both have equal and opposite charges. And so they're going to be attracted to one another, and they will form the compound sodium fluoride, which is NaF. A simple 1-to-1 ratio because they both want to gain 1 or steal 1, so they can make each other happy. Let's take a look at a second situation. And here we have sodium again, and sodium once again has 11 protons, and it has 11 electrons starting out, with 1 in the valence shell. Oxygen here has a total of 8 protons, 8 electrons. It has 6 valence electrons, so it wants to steal 2. And so when these two things come into contact with each other, oxygen will steal sodium's electrons, just like fluorine did in the last example. And so it's going to steal that outermost electron, and when that happens, oxygen now has 9 electrons. It's not happy though, because it wants to have 8 in the outer shell. It only has 7. And then sodium here only has 10 electrons now. It has a full outer shell. Let me erase that so we don't get confused, since that electron was stolen. So sodium's happy, oxygen's not. It wants to steal 1 more. And so what we're going to see here, a second sodium's going to come in. The second sodium comes in. My computer froze up here a second. There we go. Sorry about that. So a second sodium comes in. Let me draw the electrons for it here. 1, 2, 2 in the first, it's full. 8 in the second, it's now full. And it still has 1 in the third. And so now you see this sodium wants to lose an electron. This oxygen still wants to steal 1 more. And so what we see happen is what I'm guessing you're predicting is going to happen. This electron is going to be stolen by oxygen. So now oxygen has stolen 2. It has stolen 1 from both sodiums. So it's now happy. It's now oxygen 2 minus. It's happy. This sodium is happy. This sodium is sodium +1. It has a full outer shell. And the electron was stolen from this sodium's outer shell as well. So let's get rid of it. So it's now happy. It has a full outer shell. So everybody's happy. So what's the formula it takes to make everybody happy? It is Na, and we have 2 sodiums. It takes 2 sodiums to make 1 oxygen happy. And our formula for this compound will be Na2O. 2 sodiums combined with 1 oxygen. Alright, that's the basis of lesson 20. Hope this helps.